Magic is about to happen because we're sitting in that position again.
I know.
Where we were, what, 6 months ago? That sounds really weird.
This is where the magic happens, folks. When me and him sit together like this, just stay tuned for magic.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Carlos here. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk. Next to me is my main man, Kubbernus. Sorry.
Nice one.
I hate messing up
Nobody
people's
can do
last
this.
names.
Nobody can do this in the world. That's why it's Kubby.
We won't edit this, but Kubby is a return guest on Real Talk.
That's right.
So thanks for joining me once again, Kubby.
Man. So good to see you
It seems like
again.
every time you come on the show, you're like the rare exception where we're in an agency or we're in an office. We're not at the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center. But that's okay because you bring the fire. And our first episode already has over 25,000 views.
Is that right? Is it that high?
Over 25,000.
Holy crap. I think that is the video that has the most views I've ever been in. So thank you for that. I think that's a mix of you and me and also probably some good keyword optimization.
Thank you to Gary V. So Kubby, let's jump right into it. We are both in town for Summit Live. Last time we were together, we were in town for another conference.
Right.
Now we're in town for Summit Live here in Los Angeles, which is the largest conference for live streamers.
Right. Which I am not, which is kind of weird.
Which is weird because I'm not a live streamer either. I'm actually talking about Snapchat for creators. And I believe you're talking about Snapchat.
Yes, I am. So it's kind of weird, but I think they were evolved into a bigger sort of thing. So
the conference used to be called Periscope Summit.
Right.
And now it's called Summit Live. So once they chopped the name Periscope, it opened up the doors for non-Periscope users.
For us losers to get in.
For us to be able to swoop in. So Snapchat's something that the last time that we were together in London at Snap happened, you referred to technology and the state of affairs as this atomic bomb, if you will. And I really like that statement because when you look at where we're at now, 5 months later,
things have changed.
Things have changed. The market's changed. I just read this morning from someone in our collective network that I believe it was Jeff Goldberg saying that he's jumping off of Snapchat, and here's why all of your friends are jumping off of Snapchat. It's no secret. Instagram has come out with Instagram Live. Yeah. Facebook now is adding Snapchat-esque features to their platform. So from your standpoint, is this the atomic bomb that has officially gone off?
Well, I think it's interesting that all of these platforms have jumped onto this idea of what Snapchat represents, and that sort of is a good kudos or respect to Snapchat because they've really opened up the Pandora's box, and not to use like a negative term, but the Pandora's box of how you do this snappy communications in this world that we live in now. And I think that's a really good thing, and I think it's a really interesting thing what's going on there. Like Instagram's copying it now, Facebook is copying it now within their Messenger, and also WhatsApp, one of the probably the second largest social network in the world, or maybe third largest, has also released like a Snapchat clone. So it really shows, okay, Snapchat was onto something. But now that everybody has copied it, can Snapchat hold the position that they had before, or even grow the position that they had before? And I'm a little worried for Snapchat.
I'm worried for Snapchat, but honestly, Kubby, real talk, I'm more worried for us because Snapchat has kind of helped get us on the map, so to speak.
Yeah, but I think that, so Vine also died a little while ago. Platforms died, Blab died, Meerkat died. There was lots of people. I think what's important to know is that you rent your audience. Mm-hmm. You don't own your audience. So if you're an influencer out there, if you're growing your social channels, you got to know that you got to bring something to the table other than just what the platform gives you, and be able to transition to other things and be able to see what's in the cards early. So if anybody's out there that's on Snapchat, don't be naive, be very smart about what you're doing, and start thinking about, if I need to make an exit out of this, how do I do it, and how do I do it appropriately so I continue to keep my fans, if not grow my fans, based on that exit.
So that exit actually plays up to what I said last time we got together, where I referred to Snapchat as the stock market, so to speak.
Right.
Or social media as the stock market.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy.
You buy in when it's at its lowest point, which I would say right now, you look at a platform like Twitter, it's a really good time to buy in because a lot of people and content creators are jumping off of Twitter. I think though that Snapchat still is a noisy universe. And what I mean by that is you have a lot of content creators that are trying to find their way. They obviously follow folks like you and I, we follow other content creators. Everyone's creating content nowadays, and you have more people creating content, it seems, than people actually consuming the content. And I'll throw another analogy at you. Last time it was the stock market, now it's TV ratings. When I see my views go down on Snapchat, I look at it as my ratings on my network have gone down. However, when I turn over to Instagram and I see now my ratings have gone up because more people are watching and they're paying attention on Instagram. And even, I'll throw another one at you, there's YouTube in the mix. There's uploading native video content like this over to Facebook, and people are actually watching, they're consuming, they're sharing, they're commenting. There's value in that. So if there's anything that's happened over the last 5 months from my perspective is, to your point, yes, the atomic bomb has gone off. There's immense competition in this industry. And I think, to your point, it's not so much about renting your audience as it is, you just got to build an audience. And keep that audience engaged, so if tomorrow Snap were to go away, like Vine has, you're not left there in the dust.
No, and I think it's very important to know that. And I think if you got your shit down, sorry to swear on your show, but if you got your shit down pat, you can transition to other platforms. So your platform doesn't really matter. I mean, we look at Sean Durst. He's an awarded Snapchatter, probably one of the most famous in the world. He went hard on YouTube last year. Well, you got to look at that and go, why is he doing that? Because he understands that he needs to build his audience no matter where it is. Like, he needs to get involved where it's good, where it's get to go, where it fits his brand, and keep pushing there. So I think it's super important.
What I really liked about video that Sean put out on YouTube, specifically, it was several months ago, I don't know if you saw this one, but Sean talked about how Snapchat is not loyal to the creators on the platform.
That's a big problem.
Snapchat's not helping creators monetize. Snapchat's making it very difficult for creators to earn their living, whereas you look at a platform like YouTube, and YouTube through their Google ad network, you can actually make a little bit of money on there, which is nice. It's a way to give back to those that are actually creating content on the platform and driving people to engage and watch that content.
Yeah, it's one of the things that Snapchat is screwing up right now. And many people have said this. I'm not the first, and I'm not going to be the last, but they are definitely not helping their creators. They're definitely not helping them monetize. They're definitely not in that game, and that's going to be to a detriment. You can see quite clearly YouTube. Even Facebook is somewhat helping, but not really. They're inviting their big creators, like we were talking about this morning at Summit Live. Joel Com, shout out to Joel Com, put out a piece. He put out. He was showing us the most watched Facebook Live is the Chewbacca bomb. Right? They actually, when that was trending,
which I think was staged, by the way.
You think it was staged?
I absolutely think it was staged.
No, I don't think so. You think so?
I think it was a combination of Disney wanting to push the new Star Wars movie.
I don't think it was
working with Facebook, who at the time was launching Facebook Live.
Wouldn't that be brilliant, though, if it was
I think it was. You heard it here first. Conspiracy theory. I think
Chewbacca Mom was staged.
Chewbacca Mom was
trending
staged
on hashtag
Disney and Facebook
Twitter.
Live.
Come on, hashtag.
So anyways, most watched Facebook Live ever was Chewbacca
staged.
Mom.
I mean, you want to put any conspiracy theory into it. I mean, she was invited by Facebook, when it started to trend.
Right.
When it started to get above 1 million views, Facebook invited her to Facebook to sort of talk about this, and they were definitely vested interest in pushing that into everyone's news feed so that they could get the views up and go and say, look, everybody, we're really killing it in the live space. Look at this view. Look at the view numbers on this thing. Look at the share numbers on this thing. And that's what Facebook wants to do. And so they're helping their creators out in some way. Snapchat isn't going to help you get into any sort of discover feed. Ain't going to help you reach a larger audience. They really don't care about you, and that's going to be to their detriment. We'll see if they can pull it around after the IPO. But if I was a creator, I'd be going, I don't know if I want to be on this platform.
That's a really bold statement coming from you.
I know, I love Snapchat, and but I can say that. But I also am not romantic about it. It's just a platform, folks. It's just a platform. It's just a platform, and that's why I think a lot of people can't get stuck and go down with the ship, because that's what happened to a lot of, Thanks, bro. Thanks for helping me.
And I'm not going to cut this out because this is the beauty of being real on Real Talk.
Yeah.
One of the things I talk about in all my sessions now, because I get asked this question almost on the daily, is should I be on Instagram or should I be on Snapchat?
Right.
So you'll see this here in a little bit at Summit Live. Right. I always end my talks now with a slide that has both of their logos. And I say, it's not a matter at this point of debating the value of one versus the other. Right. It's being on the platforms for the community.
Right.
Be about the community that you are trying to serve and you create content for, and not so much the platforms. Be loyal to the community, don't be loyal to platforms, because trust me, these platforms are not loyal to you.
They're gonna die, or they're gonna change, or they are not going to support you like you should be. Like, I mean, but I think it's interesting what's going on with Facebook, for example, compared to YouTube. Like, we talked a little bit about YouTube supporting its creators. For anybody who's watching, maybe you guys don't know, but Facebook's really involved in getting longer videos, right? So they want to be a YouTube competitor. They want to be a Snapchat competitor and a YouTube competitor, and they might start pushing up those who make content that's longer, right? Because the problem with short content that works really well on Facebook right now, the 60 seconds, the 90 seconds, you can't really sell advertising in there. Could you imagine sitting through a pre-roll for a 60-second video, or a pre-roll or a mid-roll? So what Facebook's going to start doing for all you content creators out there is they're going to start supporting longer videos. So if you produce 5-minute, 10-minute, they're going to like you more, and they're going to support your content more. So that's a little tip for you guys out there.
Interesting. Now, your advice to creators is not to go all in on Snapchat.
No.
And I've noticed from you, you've started transition over into Instagram. Tell us about that.
Well, I think it's good to hedge your bets. I mean, I went all in on Snapchat when it started to really take off, and that's afforded me a ton of great opportunities. Right? So I don't discount that idea of going all in, and you'll see that across many creators when they go all in on YouTube, or they go all in on Snapchat, or they go all in on Instagram. You can see massive growth, right? So I think it's important to understand that focus creates growth. So if you're gonna focus on one platform, do that, but understand when to start to bridge out to other things and sort of support your audience there, and don't try to do the same content everywhere, but think about, okay, this really works well for Facebook, the 90-second video, now it's getting longer. This really works well for Instagram, this really works well for Snapchat. Understanding those things and playing in those sandboxes to find out what's going to work for you.
Have you seen a lot of your tribe carry over, though, from Snapchat over to Instagram?
Absolutely, like massively. Like, I don't know the exact numbers, but I would say I get equal engagement on both platforms, but I would say that the Instagram people are, I would say, more loyal. They watch on a more regular basis, whereas I tend to get people dipping out of watching my stories. So
I'll tell you what I'll say. I noticed the quality of engagement on Instagram is a lot better than Snapchat. Let's face it, there's no one saying streaks. There's no one sending inappropriate photos, at least to me, on Instagram. But what I'm going with all this is that on Instagram, I noticed there is a higher quality of engagement. Yeah. People legitimately want to do business. People legitimately want to get on the phone and they want to talk shop. People that are looking for mentorship. There's a lot of young homies out there that follow me on IG, and they're looking for mentorship. They're looking for advice. Yeah. I've noticed this decline on Snapchat of that. Snapchat still has these streaks and these useless photos.
Hey.
Yeah, hey.
Or blank black snaps.
But Instagram, I'm noticing again this shift. So it's great to see that this is making a big difference on your brand. You're encouraging others out there. Let's go ahead and shift gears for a moment. Let's talk about public speaking, which I know is something that's really of interest to you. It's also of interest to the viewers out there. How has public speaking changed your career?
Well, it's actually, so I've been doing a little bit of public speaking, maybe 2 or 3 gigs a year for the past maybe 5 years. And it wasn't until the end of 2016 that I said, okay, 2017, I want to kick the doors down and do a lot more, because I found that more than any other channel that it brought in business, which is interesting for you guys out there if you're looking at sort of growing your businesses. I found that most of my clients, most of my bigger clients, most of my higher revenue clients came from public speaking. So I took a look at that and thought, okay, if this is a good avenue for revenue, maybe I should pay a little more attention to it. So I called up this guy here, who is prolific, who has so many speaking gigs, does such a great job. I thought, okay, he's got to know it better than anybody else. So I called him and he said, okay, man, this is what I did. I was pretty tactical about it, pretty surgical about it. I knew who I wanted to talk to, which events I wanted to speak at, and I just went out and I connected and I sent in proposals saying, this is what I can speak about, this is my pedigree, these are my sort of, okay, yes, he's been featured in Forbes, yes, he's been featured in Inc., yes, you know what I mean, this is my following numbers, this is laying it out in the line for them to sort of say yes quickly. And it's worked wonders. It's really worked wonders. I mean, I also outsourced it. So what I did is I got my list of events. I actually outsourced a little bit of that to a virtual assistant. Or no, actually, some of that to a virtual assistant, some of that to an internal assistant. And I covered Europe because I thought, I'm from Europe, I'm from Copenhagen.
It's going to be a lot easier for them to bring you out to an event within Europe and in the States.
Right, because before, I think the last couple of years, I've been really focused on US and Canada because that's where the big events are. But was that the right strategy? So I focused more on Europe. And I said, here's my package, here's what I do. The assistant was really good at applying for me, getting numbers, contacting people, and I have a gig booked every month.
That's awesome, man.
It's super great. Thank you so much. I mean, I really owe it to your advice, because advice is one thing, and I will say that to people out there. It's like a lot of people, you come to guys like me or Carlos or whoever in this space and sort of say, hey, can you give me some advice on this? 9 out of 10 of you don't execute. And it's kind of sad, because I really believe that you have massive power to do things and to change your world and everybody else's world, but you just don't execute it. And I see this across the board. And I will say that if you want this, if you want to be a public speaker, you want to be a social media person, you want to, whatever your business is, take our advice and execute on it. That is the secret sauce.
Chris, before we go ahead and wrap this up, you're sitting out there, young Chris Kubby. You have, because my advice to you was pick 8 to 10 events within the year that you really want to speak at. You have your 8 to 10 events, you have your pitch on the content you want to speak about, but you don't have Forbes to your name, you don't have Mashable, you don't have those credentials.
Right.
At that point, what's your advice to anyone out there that still has aspirations to speak?
If you're just starting out, I think that you need to understand what level you're at. I don't want to discourage you from speaking. I just want you to understand that you need to start connecting first. I would say, like, for example, I'm going to Social Media Marketing World here in San Diego in about a month's time. There's a lot of big names that are speaking there in the social media space. I'm not speaking, but guess what? I'm going, and I'm flying all the way.
You're in the game.
I'm flying all the way from Copenhagen to do it. I'm footing my own bill. I'm paying, like, it's an expensive conference. I'm going because I'm going to network. Because I know I can't speak this year, but God damn it right, I'm going to speak next year. And that's what you got to do. You got to understand that you can't just be given the world to you like, oh, you've got 10,000 followers, but you don't have the pedigree. You haven't put in the work. You haven't put in the time. You don't know what you're going to speak about. How are you going to get a gig?
A lot of people don't know this, but I got rejected by Social Media Marketing World the first 2 years of the conference was in existence. At that time, I ran social media for a large enterprise brand in Florida.
Yeah,
and I had experience, and I was turned down.
And this guy gets turned down, so you expect to speak. I really think that that's the gap that needs to be closed. So you got to understand, okay, I have a gap here. How do I close it? And put in the work to close it. Go to the event, network. Talk to people that are speaking. Get their advice. Get them to introduce you to conference organizers. Get the network going. Say, hey, tell them your intention. Say, you know what? I'm going to speak here in 2 years. And put in the work to do it.
And trust me, brother, I've seen a lot of folks that now speak at Social Media Marketing World. Shauna Yala is one of them, that's the path that they've gone. I know folks that, and this is my advice to anyone out there, is before you get on those stages, volunteer to work the event. Volunteer to be a track moderator.
Absolutely.
Think of the role of a track moderator. You are the person that gets up and introduces on a microphone every single speaker throughout a 3 to 4 day conference. So everyone in the room is going to hear your name, where you work for, who you are. If you're really good at this, you can actually work the room. So before a speaker gets off stage, you can ask them questions yourself. You can honestly own the room for multiple days.
Absolutely.
So, Chris, I look forward to jamming out with you once again. We'll probably record a 3rd episode of Real Talk in San Diego at Social Media Marketing World.
You stay tuned for that. That's going to be awesome.
Where can the viewers out there connect with you, my man?
Everywhere. At Chris Kubby. Everywhere. Twitter, Instagram. Hit me up on Instagram the most. We talked about that. I'm really going all in. I'm watching what this guy's doing, and I'm jealous. I'm like, fuck, he's doing such a good job. I got to get on that. So hit me up on Instagram at Chris Kubby. That's the best spot.
Appreciate you, brother.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it out with your social network.
Do it.
Until next time, peace.
Do it.